Hey guys, Mamie here with OneJoyousSkip.com, and I'm here on behalf of Some Odd Girl, and I'm showing you the dies that I used to create the card today, and they are the rope dies, rope oval dies by CatScrappiness.com, and the rectangles as well. And I'm going to be using, I decided not to use this paper pad in the end, but I end up using this other paper pad that I just got from Target from the dollar spot. And I'm going to be coloring this image with my Prismacolor colored pencils. And this is just the swatch that I use to color the image because it is a person and she's an Indian and it's going to be a little bit darker of an image. You really want to lighten up the entire image first. That way the colors don't get too dark. As you can see there, I just pulled another picture into the frame because it was one that I colored with my Copics, and I'm just trying to see what colors I'm trying to achieve on the craft cardstock. So I really love coloring on craft cardstock, but I haven't colored like dark images. It's really great for bright colored images, but I just really wanted to try it. So that's pretty much what this video is just about, me trying this out on craft cardstock with dark colors. And so to achieve the right colors, it was best to put down a light color as a base first and then go in with my darker colors after that. And it was very important for me to use this right here, which is the blender pencil by Prismacolor. It's fantastic. I love this pencil. It's so much faster to use than Gamsol. It's not as great as Gamsol, but I don't feel like I can't use Gamsol on this craft paper for some reason. This is just cheap craft paper from Michaels, and it's not like nice quality craft cardstock or anything like that. So I don't recommend using Gamsol on this paper in particular, but if you get more quality cardstock, you probably can. So here I'm just showing you the different colors and what I'm using. I probably won't list the colors unless you guys ask me to. I do remember which ones they were because it was pretty much just the Browns family and a few other colors. But here I am darkening up her hair, and to get the right kind of contrast, I went in several times with the darker color in the roots, just to really get it nice and dark so that it didn't blend in with the craft cardstock. So that was really what I was trying to achieve, was not getting it to, I wanted it to still pop even though it is a dark image. And I think I was able to achieve that. I mean, you guys let me know. It was cool to at least try it out and see how it worked. So anyway, I think I got her skin tone kind of the color that I like, and here I am using my blender pencil again, which is, like I said, fantastic to use when you're not using your Gamsol. It's much faster. And basically what the blender pencil does is it breaks down the wax in the colored pencil, and thus it helps blend the colors together. I don't know what the blender pencil is made out of. It feels kind of like sandpaper or something, but it's just like has a rough tip. I've never looked at the ingredients or anything of the blender pencil. I guess I should do that, but it works really great for this, and you can get those at any hobby store. And so here I'm going back in again, just darkening up her hair a bit to give it more contrast. And I went over the whites of the eyes with a really, really pale blue. I didn't want to do it stark white because then it might be a little too white. So, and then here I am darkening up the shadow areas of her little dress in a very, very dark brown, or if not, it wouldn't show up. So, and I'm going to, after I've been coloring it in a little bit, I'm going to blend that out. But I also go in with a lighter color, and that's the thing about these colored pencils. When using colored pencils, they're so much more forgiving, in my opinion, than markers. I mean, once you kind of make a mistake with markers, you know, you're done, except for using your blender marker, but it doesn't really, that's for like tiny issues. It's not to really fix the whole effect of a picture that you're coloring. So, but I use a lighter color there to go in the dress to add a highlight. And so that's the great thing about colored pencils, is you can go in with a lighter color to create your highlights. And you can just work at that until you're happy. And here I'm going in with my black fine liner. I think it's Prismacolor also. And I go over the entire image with my black and darken the lines over again, which is a necessity when you're doing colored pencils, because it kind of can take away the black lines of the image. So as you can see, it really brought it back to life and made it pop all over again. So that is definitely a must do, is to go back over with a black pen. And so, yes, like I was saying, if you add light colors to your image, that adds highlights, and you can do that as much as you want, as long as you don't press too hard when you're first coloring your images. You can layer and layer to your heart's desire, but once you start pushing too hard or layering a whole bunch of colors, it gets harder and harder the longer that you add layers, because it is breaking down that paper, and it can only break down so far until it can't take any more color. And so here I'm using my favorite colors, which is like, well, I thought it was turquoise. It ended up coming out a little bit more blue than I was trying to achieve, but I love turquoise, and I think it kind of came out in a turquoise color. So that's my favorite thing about the Indian, I guess, culture is the jewelry is beautiful, and there is a use of a lot of turquoise, at least in the southwest area. And so here I'm just taking my black pen again and going over, darkening up all the lines again, adding in a little bit of a nose here, and then taking my white gel pen to really add those sparkles into her eyes and make them pop. And this part is really not necessary. I went over the whole image with a dark gray color, and it really didn't help it pop. I don't think it did. If you think it did, then add it. But if you don't, then just skip that part. So now I'm going through my papers trying to decide what I'm going to use. And this Target paper pad was really quite cute. I was surprised, and it's nice quality. It's not flimsy or anything like that. It's a nice heavyweight cardstock. I wouldn't say heavyweight, but for the dollar spot, pretty good weight. And so I also took my oval die there that's scalloped, and that's from Avery Elle. And I will post the products in the description below that I use, so you can check those out. Just click on the links, and it will take you to the store where I got the products. And so this is a digital image, so I couldn't create a mask on my masking paper, but I did just print it out again on a piece of paper, and I'm able to use that as a mask and stamp that turkey right on top so that he's kind of behind her. And so now I'm using my large roped rectangle die. You can't really see it on here, but I just love that rope. I just think it's really great for the look I'm trying to achieve here. And I have some twine in like a burnt orange, kind of like a Halloween type color. And I'm just going to wrap that around a few times at the bottom of the card. And I'm going to add foam tape. I didn't plan on adding foam tape, but if you add something that has dimension like the twine, you need to add foam tape, because if you don't, then your paper will kind of bow up where the twine was laid. So add that foam tape so that you won't have that after all this hard work. You don't want for your card to look uneven and and not polished. So I'm actually running out of foam tape, so I'm trying to just baby it. And pardon my head a whole bunch in this video, because when I'm coloring with colored pencils, like, I don't know why, like, I guess because, and especially on craft cardstock, I can't see it as well, so I'm like, have to get right up on it. I never thought I had bad vision, but as you can see here, I'm using my nail file to just trim off the side of the card a little bit, file that down. I've always like sat right on top of my coloring and writing and all that, but since I've been recording videos, I have to sit back further, which I am not used to. I'm used to being right up on it. And so I do have kind of bad vision, but I was never farsighted, but maybe I am. So here I'm just taking my little bow maker that I made. I think there's plenty of companies that sell those. If I find one, I will put it in the description. And it's very easy to use. Just create a little tiny bow. And I'm going to put our sweet little Indian girl on there. And make sure you guys check out Some Odd Girl, their shop. They have some new images that are just too precious. And so here I'm just coloring in the turkey, adding some little white to the feathers, adding a little bit of shading. And so like on an image like this, her face is so big. That's where I had to do the most work, the most blending and things like that. And so just take your time and, you know, just work at it. And that's all I can really say about that. You just have to add your layers and keep working it. But it is much more forgiving than Copics, even though it does take longer. So that would be like, you know, the difference, I would say. But for me, you know, obviously Copics don't really show up on craft paper, so not as true to not as opaque, I guess you could say, as these colored pencils. So that's why it's really fun to use on the craft paper. I love to use this technique. I do it all the time. I don't know why. I just really like the way that everything pops off of the cardstock. So I guess I should invest in a little bit higher quality cardstock, and I'll let you guys know if it makes a huge difference or what. Adding a little bit of shadow underneath her here. And the turkey. And last, I'm going to start putting the card together. Doing a very simple layout, which with my Some Odd Girl images, I usually do quite a simple layout because the focal point is always the image. I have like almost every digital stamp they have. I just love Some Odd Girl images. I don't know what it is. It's just she creates very pretty images, and the lines are nice and thick, great for coloring. I started learning coloring on her images, and her name is Christy, by the way. I started learning on her images, and I have loved them ever since. So, and here I am just adding some pearls to the sides to add a little extra something, and the card is basically done. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I really appreciate all your likes and comments and subscribing. I really appreciate all of it. And I'm going to have some still shots here at the end. And I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you next time.